Liz and I are here to argue against the claim that banks considered too big to fail or too big to regulate should be broken up. We believe that these banks should not be broken up for various reasons. One reason being that the role they play in the economy's stability is too big. These banks provide the funds that allow Americans to buy houses and cars. They safeguard additional funds. They allow you to make loans. They allow the capital market to function. They support the U.S. government. And they fund small businesses that employ the greatest number of people in this country. Together, these big banks allow 500,000 people to be employed. Additionally, if these big banks are broken up, larger global clients will presumably move their business to huge foreign banks that are still able to provide one-stop shopping for a variety of global services. Community banks can't finance such global and major projects that need mega managers, so the U.S. would then lose out on this revenue. These banks will cause investors, customers, and the government to lose out on profitable income and jobs, and not to mention the economic stability. It will be lost if these banks are broken up. You cannot and should not limit a business's profitability because nothing good will come from that. When you limit a business's profitability, you lose all kinds of things. The Dodd-Frank financial regulatory reform legislation was created to provide legal authority that was not previously available to deal with large banks if they were to fail. The demise of such large banks would not be a minor event, and therefore this law was created and regulations were put into place to make sure that the financial system would continue to be safe. Furthermore, the United States government does not normally cap the size of private firms, even gigantic firms like Apple or Walmart, so why should a bank be any different? Would you invest in a company that was legally prohibited from growing? I know I wouldn't. So for that reason, we believe that big banks should not be broken up and their profitability should not be limited. Thank you for listening, and Liz will give you her side of the argument.
Hi guys, I'm Liz, and I'm going to pick up where Amy left off in our argument in favor of why banks that are considered too big to fail or too big to regulate should not be broken up. As a top-level executive at a big bank like JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, those executives have a responsibility and a duty to the shareholders of the company to increase the value of the firm. If the value of the firm is increased, then the value of the shareholders' investment will also be increased. But if a cap is put over how well JP Morgan can do, then the duty owed to the company's shareholders cannot be fulfilled. This could cause investors to take their money elsewhere, or not even invest at all, which could decrease the amount of capital in the system and reduce lending activity as a whole. This could cause another credit crunch and ultimately hurt the economy in a major way. With less regulation, the bank would be able to make greater use of their capital and be afforded with opportunities to maximize shareholder value and contribute to the overall economic conditions. The function of banks should be to provide loans to businesses and create jobs, or to provide loans to Americans to purchase things like homes and cars. The entire purpose of any business is to make profits. Therefore, banks should not be limited to the amount of success they can earn. In addition, if it is the responsibility of employees to maximize shareholder value, then regulation would limit them from being able to do their job to their greatest capacity. Profitable businesses or companies that are participating in the market should be able to flourish and grow, as the entire purpose behind starting a business in the first place is to earn more profits and expand. If a company is unable to do this, then they are more likely to fail. The bigger idea to consider is how breaking up the big banks could cause us to ignore the real benefits that economies of scale can provide to consumers and investors. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our argument.